I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.
What's up, betters? How we doing? Beautiful Wednesday afternoon. We are going to be jumping in. Let's talk about some drones, y'all. Drones. Shout out to all the betters. Shout out to the mods that are rocking the live chat. Thank you guys so much. Let's jump into this, y'all. Right? What are we waiting for? We're going to be discussing a few things, right? What are these drones doing? Has the explanation for these drones finally been given? Well, that's the word, but there's more to the story, and it's confusing as ever. So buckle up, y'all. All right, here we go. They held a classified drone briefing yesterday, so we're going to be talking about that and some of the responses. And one of the responses that came out right after the briefing in a press conference here, I'm going to show you. They kind of explain what it is. At least that's the word from this gentleman here. I will say the volume is really low, so I recommend turning up the volume when I hit play on this video. Okay, so I'm going to just be silent for a second so you can turn up the volume. Okay, here we go.
These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations. And they are not. We were assured, and we asked this question over and over and over again. They are not federal government operations to sniff radiation, gas, recovery, anything else. Number two, they remain committed to their message that there is zero evidence of laws being broken by any of these drones. And the context here was the fact that when Josh and I live probably equidistant from Midtown Manhattan, the New York metropolitan area is the most crowded airspace in the world, with Newark, Teterboro, White Plains, LaGuardia, Newark, JFK. There is a lot of commercial aircraft in the air, general aviation aircraft in the air. There are 800,000 registered drones in this country, and then millions and millions of many unregistered drones. Because if you have a drone that weighs less than about half a pound, that need not be registered. These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government.
Okay, so here, let's kind of go over here. New Jersey drones are federal operations. After attending a classified briefing in secure compartmented information facility, a SCIF, Jim Himes said these sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations. Let's listen to that video one more time.
These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations, and
they're federal government operations.
Are not. We were assured. Over and over and over.
Well, let's listen again.
These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations, and they are not. We were assured, and we asked this question over and over.
I think, am I listening to that right? I think he's saying they're not federal government operations. Right? Am I hearing that too? Can anyone help me out in the comments, y'all? What do you guys think? Is he saying not federal government? Put not in the comments if that's what you think. Yeah, let me rewind. I'll play it again. Listen to what he says.
These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations, and they are not. We were assured, and we asked this question over and over and over again.
Do you see? He says they're federal government operations, but they are not. We were rest assured. Right? But do you see what I'm saying? But the Twitter going out, the message is they are federal government. But I think he's saying we were asking that, and they assured us they're not federal government operations. They are not searching for anything, right? Am I reading that wrong? They are not. Yes, thank you. Okay, y'all are hearing the same thing I am. So do you see how this stuff spreads wrong? So, and nothing against this guy, Jay Anderson. He runs a show called Project Unity. But he's saying breaking New Jersey drones are federal operations, but that's not true. He's right after this quote that he puts, he says they are not. Like he's, you know what I mean? They were assured they're not federal government operations. I'm going to play it one more time just for let's be sure here, because I don't want to be wrong. But that's what I'm hearing. All right, turn up the volume. I have it all the way up, guys. It won't go any further. So I'm going to be silent. Let's listen carefully. It's really here at the beginning.
These sightings in New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere they're being cited, are federal government operations, and they are not. We were assured, and we asked this question over and over and over again. They are not federal government operations to sniff radiation, gas, recovery, anything else.
Well, right there, he says it again. They are not federal government operations. So that's interesting. So why tweet this out like this? It has 1.8 million views, y'all. And it's wrong. They are not government federal operations drones, right? That's what they're saying. Because what I'm saying checks with the rest of the messaging, as you'll see as we go through some of these clips that I have, right? So that's it. So the word is being spread wrong that they're admitting they are government operate. And some people aren't going to watch that video. They're just going to read that quote and move on. New Jersey drones are federal operations, but he clearly says they are not. Again, because that checks with some of the other responses to this. So hang on. Let's, I bookmarked a whole bunch here. All right. So this is 12 seconds, but you'll see this is Senator Richard Blumenthal following classified briefing on mystery drones by FBI, CIA, and DHS. He says, our federal government has no idea, no clue, no reliable information about these drones. Let's listen to him.
We've received only minimal information, which leads me to believe that our federal government has no idea, no clue, no reliable information about these drones. We've received only...
You guys like that Fight Club frame insert there by Red Panda Koala? Guys, if you want up to date by the second of what's happening, go follow Red Panda Koala on Twitter. Man, the dude is doing such a great job of covering every single thing that's happening about this. Just clips, just keeping you informed, just reporting. Boom, boom, boom. Just everything. But good. I'm glad we got that cleared up, right? Because again, the word is spreading that, oh, they figured it out, finally explained, right? Like my title says, right? Like, but that's not true, right? That is not true. Now, I'm not saying what they are. I'm just saying that reporting is not true. That quote by Jim Himes is taken out of context, and the rest of the quote isn't shown for some reason. So be careful out there, y'all. All right, let's go to the next clip. So again, after this classified briefing, people are walking out completely disappointed. Okay. Why is it? Okay, that's my bad. Hang on, I got, yeah. No, let's watch this. Okay, so they had a Pentagon press briefing about this, and people are wanting to know, why was the briefing classified? If it's not the federal government doing it, why is it classified? Why wasn't this a public hearing so we could all hear what's going on? If there's nothing to hide here, have a public hearing and talk about it, right? All right, let me play this clip. Again, this is from the press conference from the Pentagon yesterday.
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military drones. Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I don't. I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Again, sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell you specifically, what aspects are classified or not. I can assure you that, again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know. I mean,
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones? They're not military.
Yeah. Yeah. A 30-minute press conference with zero information and zero answers. It's like, I don't even know why they have those things. Honestly, this is completely pointless. It's almost like the government's like, it's such a weird approach. It's like, do they forget who they're governing? Does that make sense? The government forgets who they're governing. The government needs the American people. We don't need the government. It's like they forget who's in charge. Drives me nuts. All right. This next clip again from Red Panda. Look at this guy, man. Again, doing such a great job covering all of this. All right. So yesterday or the day before, we covered a case because it keeps being talked about. So Ryan Graves went on Joe Rogan and talked about the drone situation, which was great, to be honest. And the first thing they got into was this idea that, sort of radioactive material was missing, and maybe that's what these drones were searching for, and it could be, WMD. I mean, we're talking loose nuke. They're calling it the loose nuke theory. All right. And we covered exactly what it is. It's nothing. It ended up being, a piece to a scanner in a hospital, right? That's missing. Like it's way overblown. So Ryan Graves gives a little more context on this, and I think we definitely should listen to this.
The scariest one that I've heard is that the drones are looking for gamma radiation because there's a missing nuke.
Yeah, let's address that first.
Please.
So there has been a lot going on. I made a next post about this yesterday to try to assuage some fears. So
I saw it, but I purposely didn't read it because I wanted to get it from you.
Yeah. So, I've had the privilege of interacting with a lot of government organizations over the past few years as I've been digging down this rabbit hole. Law enforcement at a federal level, DOD, executive branch, legislative branch, and some of the folks that I've come in contact with, they specifically work on weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so that's their job. So if there's a loose nuke in the United States, among other agencies, they would be some of the people that would be sitting in a skiff for 24 hours a day trying to figure out where it is and to go get it, right? So you can imagine that would be their number one priority, right? So I engage with these folks. I ask them, what's the sense here? People are kind of starting to panic a little bit, and this message is getting out there more and more broadly. And they assured me that's not the case, that there is not a loose nuke or other type of weapon of mass destruction that these objects, whatever they are pursuing right now. Otherwise, they would be working in a skiff nonstop to make that go away, that problem go away. So, that's part of why I have a high confidence level that this is not a response to a massive imminent, weapons of mass destruction threat on the eastern seaboard. So I just want to try to dispel that rumor right now. I've seen a lot of talk of that online. And I don't, although this is I think a dangerous and scary situation that's going on right now, at least from that particular angle, that's not the indications I'm receiving.
Excellent. Thank you, Ryan Graves, for saying that. I agree.
The scariest one that I've heard.
Because again, once you look into more of the story, you find out exactly what it is, right? So yes. Look, we got a few super chats. Let me answer these real quick. Monkey Boy, Green Street has made an actual useful video regarding these drones. Okay, that's interesting. Green Street has still not recanted a story he put out that was wrong, that I busted him on, with the oh God, I can't remember the guy's name, but the fake UFO video from the Belgian UFO wave, right? He had switched out the pictures. I made a video on it. He still has not recanted that story. So that's interesting. But all right, he made a video about drones. I'm sure it's just like scary drones, goblin drones, Jay Stratton, Luelzano, right? Like the key things. All right, Andre Wright says maybe it's us and them looking for lost tech. That's interesting. All right, let's say a UFO crashed and then we're out looking for it and the aliens are out looking for it, and that's what we're seeing, just a mixture of all that. Then you've got the hype, the hysteria just from people and putting on social media, so they're just filming everything, right? You got a mix of all this stuff. I mean, I guess, hey, listen, I've always wondered, what about modern UFO crashes, right? We talk about all these old cases of crash sites and all that. Where's the modern ones, right? Where's the 2024 crash sites, the big ones? Where are those at? So maybe that is it. Knight's Glory, the government looking for monitoring hunting UAP. Yeah, I guess it's everything's a possibility till we know, I guess. The probability I pay attention to be honest with you. But all right, yeah. And that's the problem, right? Because they can't explain anything. Right. So then we're left with this, our imagination running wild of what's exactly happening. All right. So this is a great, we'll get back to that classified briefing in a second, but I want to play another clip from Ryan Graves on Joe Rogan, because this is something that I brought up in our Discord open mic that I find interesting, is that these drone waves sightings, right, happen around the same time a lot. Because I remember last year there was some, and then the year before, right? So I was just like, why does it keep happening around December, right around this time of the year? So let's listen to this.
There's a lot of good questions there. Let me back up by starting with the fact that this started about 2 years ago, at least. So
But not like this.
A little bit like this.
Really?
So,
in this volume?
not in this volume. That's the differentiator right there. But so Langley Air Force Base, you might be familiar with the fact that they had drone incursions of an unknown type, unknown origin last year.
Right.
That happened during about a 2.5, 3 week period right before Christmas. Right where we are now. That also happened the year before over Langley. Unknown objects operating over the base. They couldn't tell where they're going. They were unprepared for them. Same period of time, 2-3 weeks before Christmas. This is year 3, right? And they were expecting them to come again for third year in a row over Langley. And there was, some effort put forward to be able to better understand these when they came back. And they did come back, but they came back in a much wider swath, right? Now we have them all over New Jersey, all the way up to Massachusetts. And it's hard to tell exactly with the quality of the reporting right now, because it seems to be, the bigger this story gets, the more people are just looking up and seeing anything and pointing it out. But, there are reports from Texas to Florida to California, Ohio, Minnesota, Pennsylvania. I mean, it's not just New Jersey itself.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just New Jersey. And at the same time, a lot is happening. Again, clearly something is happening, right? This idea, well, there's nothing going on. It's just people misidentifying planes and stuff. No, that's part of it for sure. And stars and planets that they shoot out of focus, and absolutely. But that is not.
So there's a lot of good questions there. Let me back up.
All right. Let me address this question right here. This comment. Checkmate. Patrick, why do you think you know so much about what's happening from basic sleuthing on social media? You seem so convinced on what. I'm not convinced on anything. That's the whole point. Checkmate. Right. Let me checkmate you right here. That's the whole point. I've been saying that every stream I've done since Monday. We don't know what's going on. Right. I've literally said over and over again, every possibility is still open. Right. I don't know how more open-minded I need to be. Right. I've been saying people telling you that they know what it is, I would be weary of. I've literally said that. So I don't know where this comment is coming from, but I've been seeing it a lot. I'm not convinced on anything. That's the whole point. The only thing I'm convinced of is that our government, the American government, is incompetent. And I think they do know, but they're not telling us. Again, let's rewind. What did I just say? I think, meaning that's my opinion. Right. That's all I'm doing here, guys. I'm reporting on different stuff, bringing different videos up, what people are saying, and I'm kind of giving my opinion. But of course, have your own opinion on what's going on. You're watching the same stuff. You're doing the same sleuthing, if you will. But I'm not trying to say anything about anything, to be honest, because we don't know. Right. But people just saying it's aliens and just 100%. I'm sorry, I don't believe that either. People saying it's federal government operation. It's not federal. It's not that. I don't know what it is because there's so much reporting. There's so much being reported on this. It's almost impossible to tell what exactly is going on. All right, let's go to the next clip. All right, we're going to come back to this Chris Mellon thing. All right, so this is from Ryan Graves. I'm going to read a post that he put. I found this quite interesting. Okay, so this is about everything that's happening. All right. More mysterious overflights of military bases by unidentified objects will come to light. That's interesting. So that's news right there, right? Apparently, we're going to find out about more military bases, right, with unidentified objects. Okay. I think a spark started this incident. Maybe Picatinny Arsenal or the nearby Trump golf course, which fits a troubling pattern years running. It's not just hobbyists mixed with foreign spying with hobbyist drones like the Vandenberg Space Force Base arrest of a Chinese national, which I've covered on the channel a couple times, or the unexplained Wright-Patterson Air Force Base incident. The unidentified objects over Langley Air Force Base of Virginia were not affected by electronic countermeasures, and pilots sent to check it out could not lock on, as I told Joe Rogan yesterday. Meanwhile, the White House points to widespread misidentifications by civilians and says nothing nefarious to downplay the underlying gravity of a problem senators on intel and armed services like Marco Rubio and Senator Gillibrand have been calling out for years. The stakes are much higher now. Once open, this door doesn't close. Why has this indifference lasted so long? It's time for the new administration to make identifying unknown objects in our airspace a priority. Well, I agree. I agree with that. So shout out to Ryan Graves for that statement. All right, this is interesting. This is also from Ryan Graves' interview with Joe Rogan, where he brings up about Elon. Because this is fascinating. Okay. And in fact, you know what? I'm gonna play you one clip before I play you that. So Jesse Michaels put up a clip yesterday, which we have to watch. Let me see it. Oh, come on, Jesse, where is it? Oh no, I can't find it. That's interesting. Oh man. Okay. All right. I'll have to come back. I should have found it earlier. But he this is the gist of it. He he played a clip from his interview with Science Bob McGuire, as he's known online. Okay, Bob McGuire, who is very familiar with Chris Bledsoe, right? Experiencer Chris Bledsoe, author of UFO of God, but also very familiar with a gentleman named Tim Taylor, who I have covered on this podcast many times. Okay, because I think he is one of the most, I think he is the most fascinating figure behind the scenes concerning UFOs. A name most people don't know, but when you look into his story, it's mind-boggling, right? This is a gentleman that was referenced in Chris Bledsoe's book, but also Diana Pasulka's book, right? Took Diana Pasulka and Gary Nolan out to a secret crash site in the desert where they purportedly found UFO materials and took them from there to be studied. You've heard of this like frog skin like material, right? That you mentioned on Joe Rogan, but this person, Tim Taylor, keeps coming up because Tim Taylor told Diana Pasulka he was in a secret space program. Now, again, I've covered Tim Taylor, him downloading information, right? That's what's called a download, where you get it from, literally, just to put it bluntly, from aliens. You download information from aliens, and then you start a company or an invention or something based on that information you got, right? And supposedly something new came out about Tim Taylor. Apparently, he reports to a man named the Hammer. That's it. That's it. I thought Jesse had shared it from a clip from his interview with Science Bob McGuire. The Hammer, right? Who is this person? Who is the Hammer, y'all? Because the reason I bring it up is because I'm about to play this clip of Elon Musk. Well, Tim Taylor was and could still be Elon Musk's SpaceX handler, right, for NASA, because Tim Taylor works for NASA. I mean, he's called the Dragon. He gets his own space to watch the launches. Like, this is a dude, with a lot of power in NASA, and he is Elon's SpaceX handler, right? At least he was at one time. And his connection to Elon Musk is quite interesting when you consider what Elon Musk has said about aliens, UFOs in the past, right? It's just very interesting. So listen to what Joe Rogan says about Elon Musk and aliens and UFOs, because I find this fascinating.
To get Elon Musk to have like a special UAP task force within the community knows.
Elon he's oddly sly about this stuff. He, outwardly dismisses UFOs. He said, well, if they're very subtle. That's just,
One might expect that, but okay.
But I just feel like with his contracts with NASA and being involved in SpaceX, he can't talk crazy.
Yeah.
He talks crazy so much about other stuff, but when it's in this, fucking multi-billion-dollar company that he runs, I don't think he can fuck around.
Yeah.
I don't think he can, if it was something that he had no interest in at all in terms of like financial interest and business interest, I'm sure he would be commenting on it, but he's not commenting on it at all, which makes me go, and I don't think he's going to tell me. I don't think I can call him up because I got a big mouth. I think he knows. I'll be out here talking about it. A guy I know.
Can't tell you.
Yeah, it's
so very interesting. Just saying. I think Elon does know way more that he's letting on. But I will say this argument is interesting, right? Joe's saying, well, he's got all these government contracts, so maybe that's why he doesn't talk about it. He's not speaking his mind. But let's be real. The Elon Musk of the last 3-4 years, maybe 5 even, is not afraid to speak his mind at all. In fact, that's kind of his thing. I mean, he bought Twitter, right, and turned it into X. And he's constantly saying crazy stuff, right? If just using crazy in the context of Joe Rogan, I'm not saying it's actually crazy, but I'm just saying using his words. So I find that interesting. I think there may be a deeper reason of why Elon Musk doesn't talk about it, because he knows about it. I think if he didn't know, he would be speculating and throwing out stuff more than he does. But I think he definitely knows something. Again, his connection to Tim Taylor is fascinating. And me learning about Tim Taylor's, who he reports to, someone called the Hammer. Now I want to know, who is this person? Who is the Hammer, right? Can't touch this. Better not be MC Hammer, y'all, because I will be pissed, right? But the Hammer, what kind of name is that? The Hammer, y'all. So I don't know. The plot thickens. Let me address the super chat real quick. Then we'll move on here. Johnny T, thank you. Hey, Pat, the other day I thought maybe it's AI doing exactly what the government and others feared most. AI doing what it could do because it can. Just saying. I'm not sure I understand you, Johnny, to be honest with you with this. What do you mean AI is doing exactly? You think AI is a part of this somehow, or what are you getting at here? Maybe someone else understands a little bit. But I'm not sure I entirely know what you mean. All right, let's but thank you for sending that in, man. Hopefully someone else will see that and respond to the comments. All right, let's move on. Okay. All right. Joe Biden has responded about the Mystery Jones. Finally, right? Joe Biden. Poor guy here. Definitely not all together, man. I just feel bad. But okay, let's hear what he has to say. Right? So he's asked about the drones.
Drones over New Jersey. What's behind all of that? Nothing nefarious, apparently. But they're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody's wanting to get in the deal. But we're following it closely. So far, no sense of the danger. Will you think the Prime Minister?
So let me, he's saying nothing nefarious. He's saying some of them are authorized to be up there. And that other people jumped on it and wanted to be part of the deal. But they're looking into it, but nothing to worry about. I'm even more worried hearing this answer. First of all, why are they doing a press conference right by the back of the engine of an airplane on the tarmac? Seriously? They couldn't do this in the lobby or somewhere else? Like, so stupid. Yeah, go ahead. Ask your questions. And it's just like complete the sound. Oh my God. It's insane. No respect. But I have to be honest, Joe's answer is quite confusing, if I'm being honest. I just don't even know what any of that means. Some of them are authorized. Is that why it's classified? Is this some of our own stuff? Again, I do think there's multiple answers to this. I don't know if we'll ever find out the truth, man. I really don't, about all of this. People are going to claim to know the truth, but you're going to hear different truths. You're going to hear different answers. And this is just one more example of, this is the president of our country. What else is talked about so much in the country right now besides this, right? There are other things, but this is one of the top things people in America are concerned with, right? And these sightings are happening in other parts of the country, but just specifically America. It's such an important thing here to literally address it for 20 seconds is all you got. I think the president should address it a little bit more, in my opinion, right? 20 seconds is effing ridiculous. And again, what's he saying? Some of them are authorized to be up there. What does that mean? I have no idea. All right, so this is an interesting video. This is from Fox. This guy is claiming, to know what's going on. So he's the National Security Comms Advisor. Let's listen to him.
Joining us now to talk about these mysterious drones flying over parts of the U.S., White House National Security Communications Advisor, retired Admiral John Kirby. John, thanks for being here. Okay. You hear all of these officials. You've heard a lot of concern, a lot of coverage. Where are you tonight on this?
As we look at the information we've got, Brett, and we've now examined some 5,000 different sightings, we've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date, our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activities. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally. And it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
But this is different, it seems. These are bigger. They're 6 feet in diameter, a lot of them. There was a reporter the other day that saw 50 coming from the coast at one pack. I know when you first came out, you said that most of these are manned. Can you concede that maybe most of these are not manned?
Well, I said was at the time, and this was Thursday, when we were not as informed as we are today based on the resources we have applied to the problem set. I said many of the reported sightings we believe to be manned aircraft. That was true when we said it on Thursday. We still believe, Brett, that some of these are in fact manned aircraft. I couldn't give you a breakdown of what percentage, but we do believe that still some of these sightings are in fact manned aircraft. We also acknowledge that a lot of them are unmanned aircraft. But again, our assessment to date, given all the work that we've done, the FBI, state and local officials, that these are legal and lawful drones flying for the common good.
Okay, the Homeland Security Secretary said over the weekend that right now they don't have any foreign involvement, criminal activity. We don't see them as a national security concern. How can you get to that point? How can you get to that conclusion with what you're seeing?
Because we've done the analysis, we've done the detection and the analysis, we've corroborated the sightings, and in every case that we have examined to date, we have seen nothing that indicates a public safety risk. There are drones flying over the skies of the United States every single night, every single day, and we've seen nothing in and around New Jersey that should give the people on the ground there concerns for their safety for this activity. And we've seen nothing working with the Department of Defense as well that indicates a foreign adversary actor involved or any kind of pernicious national security threat. Now, there have been some drone sightings, I think, as you know.
Hang on, before he goes any further, let me address a couple things here. One, he's saying they've investigated thousands of reports in a few days. Less than a week. What are we talking about? Right. I understand his point here, right? He's trying to soothe people, and I get that. But why is this messaging so different from what's coming from the White House, Pentagon press briefing, senators coming out of the classified briefing? Why, you know what I mean? Nothing's what's being told here. Who's sending out memos? I don't understand, right? I think he's probably right about some of this, what they are, but not all of it, right? What about the restricted airspace that people are flying over? What about that? That's happening, right? This doesn't make any sense. That story I reported on yesterday from that Marine Corps base having 5 to 6 incursions over the last, few weeks. What are we talking about? Langley, Wright-Patterson, Vandenberg. So clearly, right, over Bedminster, over Trump's place, right? This isn't the full answer, but it's interesting. This guy is weaving his way around this, bobbing, weaving, trying to just get through these questions and basically just say, we've looked into it. everything's fine. And clearly you haven't had the time to look into everything. So that's an issue for me, right?
Over some military bases. We're obviously looking at that. That is a different category, and DoD has different authorities to deal with that. But again, we've also seen no disruption of operations at our bases in New Jersey either.
That's not right. That is completely wrong, right? You have bases shutting down because of this. So what are you talking about, right? That's a different category. So they're separating. They're basically creating two events here. They're creating the classified airspace, what's happening there, and unrestricted, right? I shouldn't have said classified. Restricted airspace versus unrestricted airspace. So the unrestricted airspace, they're saying, and misidentification of stuff, and that's it. And over restricted airspace, well, that's a different category, and they're looking into that. Okay. I mean, this guy gives me zero confidence.
Any of this.
Okay, here's the president-elect today.
They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense.
What's your answer to that?
Well, I think it goes back to the first question you asked me, Brett. I mean, we have made an assessment based on the work we've done thus far, and our assessment is that this is lawful and legal activity, whether it's manned or unmanned. Again, we see no indication of a national security or public safety risk.
Okay, but there are so many of them, John.
Assessment.
There are so many of them, John. If this was happening over Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, would you be a little bit more concerned? I mean, I guess the people of New Jersey wonder why it took so long to get to the point you are now. And if you see all of this, doesn't a local authority need the authority to be able to deal with it? Is it something Congress has to pass? Because they want to say, I don't want a 6-foot wide diameter refrigerator flying over my house and falling on my roof.
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, Brett, because we absolutely do want to see congressional action. The Biden administration proposed legislation for counter UAS authorities, additional authorities, to close some of the gaps and seams that you're talking about, not only between our own agencies here in the federal government, but the gaps that exist between us and state and local authorities. We absolutely want to see that legislation, and President Biden is calling for a bipartisan task force on Capitol Hill to do exactly that, to try to drive some legislative remedy. Everybody, and I think we all understand this, Brett. I mean, we're in a new ecosystem in terms of unmanned aircraft in this country. Again, all legal and lawful and doing the right thing for the public good, but it's a brand new ecosystem. There are more systems flying, more purposes over more cities than ever before. And the authorities and the gaps and seams that those authorities don't give us have not kept up with that ecosystem. And so we want to see that driving forward.
All right,
I mean, that is a fair point. Okay, to be fair here. We are in a new age of drones everywhere. People have drones. They're flying them all over, right? Clearly our airspace is more crowded than it's ever been in history, right? Satellites, planes, helicopters, private planes, commercial, military, right? You've got so much. Balloons, hot air balloon, you know, there's just so much. Drones, all kinds of drones. There's tiny little ones that can do crazy things, big ones. You know, you got fixed wing drones. I mean, clearly that does make sense. And we need to catch up with it, right? Think of it like the internet, right? And what social media brought and all that. We don't really even have a lot of laws put in place to help with some of that, right? We're in a new age. So I can respect that. But what I don't understand is why all of a sudden, if this is happening all the time, why all of a sudden is it made a big deal? Out of nowhere, right? That's what I don't understand. Clearly, there has to be some, you know, event or something that happened that created this, right? That people jumped on board. Something went on, and something is going on, right? And I think what they're doing is, again, they're separating the two. They're separating the stuff that's happening at military bases away from all of this, but I don't know. Should you be? I don't know. All right, let's hear his final question here.
Thing. you don't see any linkage between the number of that this is all tied together in one thing. You think these are all different elements and different kinds of drones, not with one company, not with the military, not with the DOE, Department of Energy. You don't say that they're looking for some nuclear material. You say these are all different flying objects, some of them manned, some not.
Our assessment to date is that, Brett, that this is a collection of law enforcement, hobbyists, commercial drones, and of course civil aviation aircraft that have caused all these sightings. And it's not attributable to an actor for a purpose. And again, I want to stress to your viewers, we don't see anything that indicates a national security or a public safety threat. The last thing I'll say, Brett, and I appreciate the time you're giving me, is this is an ongoing investigation. We're still working our way through this. Sightings continue to come in. We've taken them all seriously, and we'll continue to look at this. And if we learn more, if we know more, certainly if we find something that's contradictory to what we believe today, I'll be right up here on your show talking about it.
And we will have you on right away.
All right. Well, interesting. Why are people, again, walking out of this classified briefing not with this conclusion? Because clearly people are going in with more questions, and those people that are giving the briefing don't have the answers. So as much as he's trying to separate these two, I don't know if you should, right? All right, let me address a couple super chats that came in. DeRaider says, I've got some more clips, so stay with me, y'all. DeRaider, the hobbyist theory is ridiculous. The type quantity of drones needed to pull this off would require hundreds of millions of dollars. That's some hobby. Well, you do have a lot of hobbyists out there with drones, and they do sell a lot of drones, but I get your point for sure. Again, there's not one answer for all of this, but I totally get your point, DeRaider. Isaac, existence is profound. We're threads in a vast tapestry. UAPs hint at mystery, but our reality, creativity, and inner soul hold the true wonder. Listen to that. Very poetic, Isaac. All right, I like that. Existence is profound. Boy, I could do a whole podcast on that, or what I've been thinking about that. Love it. All right, let's get to some other clips that I have here. All right, I'm kind of done with that. I'm going to move to something else real quick, because I have sort of a PSA, which just happens to be my initials too. This is something to consider. Let's bring it up. Military pilot injured during rash of laser pointings at planes in New Jersey. So if you read this article, you find out that a lot of people are shining lasers. Right? This is not good. This is not good. Please do not attempt that. Right? Now we're hurting our own military, our own soldiers. Let's go. No. And this isn't, this is just normal people. But I will be a little fair here, right? When you tell the public you don't know what's going on about something, an event so massive, right? I get that last guy was saying, well, this is what it is. Yeah, but no one else is saying that, right? Why is everything, the Pentagon press, everything is so different. The messaging is so different. So people are left with the unknown. And, they're scared. Some people, right? They're scared, they're worried, they're alarmed, and they're taking matters into their own hands. This is America. That is exactly what people do here. I mean, I'm from Texas, so that's something I know firsthand. People will take, the problem into their own hands and solve it. And that's what's happening. And that's why spreading misinformation and not being honest and transparent with the American people, that's what happens. You get people doing things like this, shining the lasers, maybe trying to shoot at them, do stuff. Because they don't know what's going on. Now, maybe some of them are just whatever, but I think most people generally just don't know what's going on, right? So they're a little alarmed. But please do not do that. Do not shine, because all you're going to do is hurt You know, what if you shine it at a commercial pilot and his plane, he's got 300 passengers on board? You know what I mean? I mean, we need to be very careful there. But again, when the government doesn't give us answers, what do you expect people to do? Right? Just sit around and do nothing? It's not how it works. All right, let's get back to something I want to share here. All right, hang on. All right, we'll get to that one. All right, this is kind of taking a quick little rabbit trail to the side, and then we're coming back to the drones. All right, so James Fox's documentary, The Program, is out. And you know what? Let's not take the detour here. I'll do it at the end. Let's come back to that because I've got some interesting information from that. So let's come back to that. All right, let's just finish off with the drones here. All right, so this is an interesting conversation that was had with Chris Cuomo, again, about this classified briefing. Let's have a little discussion here. Let's play this and we'll talk.
Our suspicions have been confirmed. The answer to why the government is saying things about the drones that don't make sense is because they cannot make sense of everything that's out there. Just like during the pandemic, they don't like telling us that they don't know things. It's about a lack of transparency and accountability for the same. Why? Part of it is because people want answers and a sense of security, even when the government doesn't have them. Part of it is arrogance and covering that arrogance with inadequacy. Remember with the pandemic, the shift from no masks and cleaning everything to needing masks and distance. Then it was what worked best for school-age kids. Then the efficacy of the vaccine and each new variant. And now the reality of long COVID and long vax injuries. Each and all, they knew, they weren't sure, so they didn't tell us what they could tell us at the time. And people got ahead of where the government was, and that's never good. The situation changed, and they were behind. And the messaging became problematic. Same thing with the drones. Now, luckily, this doesn't matter as much, at least not yet, but here's the truth. The government can't say there is no threat because they can't really assess the situation. Drone tech has moved faster than law enforcement and even federal agencies. Yes, they have drones. Yes, they have detection capabilities that are even better than what they've ever disclosed, but not enough or good enough to catch or even confirm what so many of you see on a regular basis. So here is the state of play. Despite the White House and the Pentagon repeatedly saying these mystery drones, nothing to worry about, they can't know that. And today, a group of bipartisan lawmakers were briefed in a classified closed-door meeting. You got to ask, if there's nothing to worry about, why did the briefing have to be classified? There could be good reason for that or not. So what did they learn or not learn? Joining me now, two members of the House Intelligence Committee who were in that meeting. Republican member of Congress, Dan Crenshaw, and Democrat Congressman Amy Barrett. Now, yes, you got a Republican and a Democrat. You know why? Because people care and it goes beyond party. Thank you both, gentlemen, for being with me tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me,
does anything that I said so far offend either of you in terms of what you understand about the situation? Am I okay with?
I'll go first. Nothing offends me. I think we've got to be transparent with the public. Obviously, there's concern. There's a lot that we know, a lot that we don't know. Nothing in the briefing, though, at least from my perspective, and I'm curious to hear from Dan, gave me cause for concern. I think the FBI takes this very seriously. I think local law enforcement takes it very seriously. But Chris, as you talked about, the proliferation of drones, folks that are hobbyists, et cetera, there's a lot that we need to do as Congress to get ahead of this. But again, right now, if I was in New York, New Jersey, I wouldn't be worried about what we're seeing right now. But again, I think we've got work ahead of us in Congress.
Listen, I get it. I accept it. Dan, the question to you is, I'm not worried about some Iranian mothership or little green men or anything like that. I don't like that the government doesn't seem to have a handle on it and suggesting they do. Am I wrong to feel that way based on what?
You know, I think your monologue was correct. I mean, the government has a tendency to try and put on this display of 100% certainty, when in reality, they're not sure. And, you know, it's okay to tell the American people sometimes, hey, we're just not sure. We have no evidence that there's a threat, and that's true. There is no evidence that there's any kind of threat from any kind of foreign actor or that there's even a domestic threat. But as you said, they don't actually know that for sure. It's impossible to know that for sure. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay to say that. People can handle some elements of truth, because if you make these absolutist statements, and you mentioned COVID a lot, COVID was chock full of absolutist statements. And that's what drove people crazy, because people aren't that stupid. And so they could see, well, okay, there's a caveat to what you just said. And so now I don't trust you. Now, with respect to drones, I think what I took away from that briefing, most of all, and I think a lot of us did, was we just simply don't have a good legal framework to deal with this. This is a new technology. It has transpired much quicker than a lot of us are ready for. We do have really good counter drone technology and ways to deal with this, but we're talking about forward operating bases at this point. We're talking about our, protecting our U.S. forces abroad. When it comes to like, hey, just some random buildings in New Jersey and there's drones flying all over the place, it's not obvious who the lead agency is. It's not obvious who you call. Who do you call? And what countermeasures are actually allowed to be used, legally allowed to be used? So Congress has a role here. We need to develop that. There are some bills that are out there that get at that a little bit. I think we need to go a lot further. There's now an appetite to do so, which I think is good. Somebody needs to know they're in charge, whether that's DHS or the FBI. And then there has to be some actual looking at, okay, what are the technologies we want to use to say, maybe have the option to take down these drones? Maybe it's RF jamming, maybe it's capturing them, maybe it's shooting them down, whatever the case may be is, we have to actually look into that. And at the state and local level, they need those same capabilities, because look, these are cars flying in the sky.
Right.
And you can attach a lot of things to them. They can be dangerous.
So, Congressman Barra, the idea that, oh, they're out there at night because they want people to know that they're looking for misplaced weapons of mass destruction and loose nukes, was that put to rest at the briefing?
I feel pretty comfortable that that's not what they're doing right now. I agree with everything that Dan said. There's like this type of disaster. We're going to see more drones in the future. Amazon talks about delivering packages via drones. So, this is where Congress, in a bipartisan way, needs to legislate, figure out what the right way to do this is. Do we mandate and regulate that you've got to have radio frequency? So if there is something out there, we could quickly identify what it is. Say, okay, that's an Amazon drone versus a rogue actor. This technology is moving fast as Congress, and the body unfortunately isn't designed to rapidly legislate. But I think this is a wake-up call.
And that's kind of a good point, right? Amazon is talking about delivering packages that way, and I'm sure other companies will start to do the same thing, and that will just be, wow, that will just make things so difficult, right? 100%. Again, more clutter, more haystack will make finding the needle much harder, right? So that is something we do have to consider, right, from this. There's more to that. You guys can go watch it. It's a really long clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing. All right, let's get to this. So look, to kind of wrap up the drone situation, I think we just don't have the answers yet about all of it, right? Maybe some of it, right? But not all of it. What's happening over the restricted airspace? Forget, apartment buildings in New Jersey. What's happening over restricted airspace? That's the biggest question. Clearly something is happening. And why does it always happen around this time of year? Right. All right. Christopher Mellon tweeted out a little support here for James Fox's documentary, The Program. All right. And if you're not familiar, The Program came out on Monday. It's James Fox's, I don't know what film it is, fifth, sixth film, right after The Phenomenon, Moment of Contact. Then you got The Program. And in it, Christopher Mellon is interviewed. right? And one part of it specifically, he talks about a series of messages that he got, signal messages from a particular person, right? Who basically told him that, there is a crash recovery program and different things about Kingman, Arizona crash, but also revealed who the gatekeeper was, right? This Air Force gatekeeper, right? And I won't spoil it for you, but Chris Mellon reveals what that gatekeeper said when he was approached about being a gatekeeper, right? So watch the program and you can find his answer. But let me read this message that he put out. For those interested, I discussed my signal exchange with a senior U.S. government official who alleged the existence of an ET technology recovery program. While I still don't have confirmation that such a program actually exists, pin that comment, this exchange is an example of the kinds of conversations I've had over the years that have led me to take this issue seriously. Either way, there remains significant work for Congress to do in investigating intrusions into U.S. airspace. I 100% agree with that last part, right? But something that's kind of interesting, while I still don't have confirmation that such a program actually exists, right? How is that possible? What do you mean you don't have confirmation that a program actually exists? For someone like Chris Mellon to say that, that's interesting, right? Because that's signal exchange, that person, readily admits they have never touched a craft, seen a craft, know nothing about it, right? This is just what they've been told. They don't want to come forward, and that's it, right? So, I mean, if all Christopher Mellon is getting, if all the information that Christopher Mellon has, that definitely isn't all public, if even he still doesn't have confirmation that a program actually exists, what does that mean for us, right? What does that say? I appreciate his honesty, though, about that. But I can also understand this second part, which is he says this exchange is an example of the kinds of conversations I've had, right, over the years that led him to take the issue seriously. That I can understand and respect, right? You have enough conversations with people you respect, coworkers, essentially for him, right, who keep telling him this certain thing. He may not be able to, cross the finish line and say, okay, that thing's real, but it's enough to make him go, well, something's going on, right? So I can respect that, but I think that's interesting that Chris Mellon still does not have confirmation that an actual, ET, UFO, reverse engineering, crash retrieval program actually exists. He's not even convinced yet. So, I mean, he would have access to the most. So I don't know. And maybe I'm reading that wrong. It's possible. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that, and Chris Mellon could add some context. But that statement's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty clear. But again, I do appreciate his honesty with that, for sure. So look, that's all I have for today. Let me go to a few chats, and we'll just hang out for a minute here, and then I'm going to stop the stream. But let's go to the vetters here in the chat. Cat's Eyes, love you, man. Keep it up. Drone Wars, let's go. Thank you, Cat's Eyes. Appreciate you, bud. You rock, man. Throw in your super chats. It is open. If you want, support the channel. That helps a lot, y'all. This is my job, so anything helps. I really appreciate it. All right, let's jump in here. What we got? Yeah, throw me any questions or comments in the chat, and let's talk. Well, let's keep it on the drones and UFOs, y'all. I see some other questions that have nothing to do with this. Yeah, has anyone seen the program, y'all? I believe James is doing a Discord, not Discord, a Reddit AMA with whistleblowers on Friday. Okay, on Reddit. I'm sure I'll cover it, but he's going to be having some additional whistleblowers who are going to be with him in a Reddit AMA. I have to admit that's a little unusual, but I don't know. It's new to me, but you know, we live in a different time, so maybe that's normal now. And Friday, I will have a guest with me to hang out and talk to wrap this up. Tomorrow, I will be live streaming again. I'm going to live stream all week, y'all, Monday through Friday. So it's Wednesday. I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow to continue talking about the drones and just keeping everyone up to date. I'm sure there'll be more information to talk about. And then on Sunday, we'll kind of wrap it all up and, you know, just try to leave it there, I guess. Wrap everything up. Johnny T, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Johnny. You rock, brother. The master says everything flying gives off a signature. So why do they keep saying they don't know what these things are? No, I agree. There's just no way that they don't know now. What is happening is people in the government do know, but it's just not translating down, right? It's just stovepiped. It's not. Nobody really knows who to, take the lead. I do believe that. Again, you just have incompetence within our own government trying to handle this and how to present a cohesive message to the American people. It just goes to show how much our government just runs on its own. So many different parts that just run on their own. It's like we don't have one government. We have like hundreds within the one government who just all do their own thing. And maybe every once in a while get together. Right. Held together by, gum and fishing line. Chameleon says, I can't believe people moaning about the price of the program. James Fox puts a lot of effort into his great docs. You're not just paying for that one, but you're helping him make more. Yeah, that's true. I get it. Look, it's $20 for the film. And I get it. $20 is a lot for people. Okay, so I'm not dismissing that either. I don't know everyone's financial situation, but I mean, $20 is something to me. You know what I mean? So I get it. But that is true, right? The flip side, it is to sort of help him and what he's trying to do. And it will go for rent on December 30th. So if you want to wait till then, 12 days from now, near the end of the year, December 30th, it will be available for rent, which means it'll be, $3 to $6, right? Somewhere in that range. And if you pay the $20, you then own the program. That's buying it. You're buying it. You're not renting it for $20. So you'll be able to watch it as much as you want. But I get it. Annie Bailey says we're an embarrassment to the world. Well, I get that sentiment. I get it. But I will say this. I've lived in 3 different countries. I've lived in Europe, I lived in Mexico, and I lived in, America here, right? Every country's got problems. Every country's got problems. I mean that. It's not like you go somewhere else and it's just, oh, this is fantastic. It's every country's got their own stuff to deal with. I promise you. But I get your point. In this sense, yeah, it's not good how we're handling this. Du Perez says, why don't they confirm anything strange about them? Yeah, they're clearly not doing much of anything, right? Again, because they don't really work together behind the scenes and no one knows how to take the lead because you need legal precedent, right? You're following the law. It's like, oh, this is happening. Therefore, it's this department or this organization, right? And because drones and this sort of thing there's just no protocols. right? At least that's what they're saying, which I think is affecting what we're trying to understand, right? So there's just so many different things going on and nothing's clicking, right? Pat, trying to give you super chat since yesterday to help out, but it blocks me, wondering what's up with YouTube. What? You're getting blocked? Oh, I don't know, Con. I never heard that problem before, actually. If you're trying to do a super chat and you get blocked, my apologies. I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. There's nothing on my end. But thank you either way. Rob says, I'm back in the NHI camp, baby. More an open mic. Okay. NHI camp. I don't know what that means. You think it's NHI? Is that what you mean, Rob? I hear you. They said it was Joe said they said it was a federal operation, a government operation to stiff out radiation or gas. Okay, so that's what you think, Joe. He was saying it is a federal operation, but not the one to go search for things. It's something else entirely. I mean, that's possible. Maybe I heard that wrong. But if that's the case, why is no one else saying that? Why did Blumenthal come out and say something completely different? Right? Why are Dan Crenshaw and the other guy not saying that? Why didn't they say that? Oh, it's a government operation. Right. They didn't say that. So I don't really think that's the case. They would have brought that up on that News Nation clip. But I could be wrong. All right, Stephen, here we go. Patrick, in 2015 in France, Fessenheim nuclear plant and extremely sensitive places linked to politics, authorities, even the LC, for Pete's sake, had drones flying above. Still mystery today. For Pete's sake, that's funny that you use that term. That's funny. Had drones flying above. Still mystery today. Yeah. I mean, again, wasn't there something in Germany too, right? Like at the UK, that's kind of where it all started, right? Everything was popping off in the UK, which is that still going on? I mean, what happened to all that? It's like we just moved to New Jersey drones and like that's like we've forgotten. What do you think the next drone event will be? I don't know. That's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know. Juan says, unless you have a physical copy of it, you don't own it. Well, you're not wrong in a lot of ways. Digital ownership is murky for sure, which again is another example of a different time we live in, and there's no laws for that, right? For gaming, the way that's sold, movies it's all digital. Like it's definitely not how it used to be for sure. So you're not wrong. Cats, I said this super chat is for Khan because he's broke. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Marky says, love the Christmas ornament in the back. That's right. Where is it? Boop. Right there. Thank you to Marky. I got to get the other ones, Marky, which I'll do sometime this week, hopefully before Christmas for sure. But look, I forgot to bring this up. You see this V right here, this sign? I got this light up sign. This dude, he kind of wants to remain anonymous, I think, so I'm not going to say too much, but really cool guy. Works with the Y-Files, actually had made them some signs, and he made me one. I bought it. I got it in the mail. It lights up. Big V right there. I honestly don't know where to put it in my background. So if you have any ideas of where that this V right here should go, let me know. I don't really know where to put it. You know, so I put it there, but I love it. It's awesome. All right, let's see here. All right, guys, I'm going to do a couple more questions, and then that's it. Are you blocked from saying Danny Sheehan? Danny Sheehan. No, man. Rocco, Danny Sheehan has been a guest on the show twice. So you can look up those interviews. I've had him on twice. Have no problem with Danny Sheehan. All right, look, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna head over to Discord. Discord is popping, y'all. So please feel free to join. I don't know how many members we have, but a lot. Okay, well over 1,000. I think 1,200 or something like that, maybe more. I honestly don't know. All I know is it keeps growing. People keep coming and hanging out, posting, whatever. A lot of different channels, a lot of different conversations you can have. There's debates. You can, share food pictures, dog pictures, fan art. If you make some stuff for Vetted, you can share your experience. If you've had one, share different videos maybe you've captured. We all, take a look at them and try to figure them out. And then something that a lot of people enjoy is our open mic that we have in Discord every day, pretty much. After the video ends, a lot of us jump in the open mic and just talk and hang out, which is great, right? So, Daniel says 1280 members. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's it. We're popping, y'all. Yeah, Heiser put the link here. It's in it's in the chat, but it's also in the description. It's free to join. And you can support Vetted. Definitely helps out a lot. And you can just go hang out with like-minded people. Another thing, if you want to support the channel, you can become a YouTube member. There's ways to do it down below. I should know that better. Link in the description. And you get different perks and what. So I will set that up, for which I will be posting a video later today, in fact, to the Patreon. And this Friday, we're going to be having I'll be just like this, just hanging out, talking, chatting. You can ask me anything you want, and we'll chat about anything. I'd love to hear from you as well. So many ways to support the channel, y'all. I need it. That's what I need to do. Just watching the videos, hitting the like button, subscribing, that also helps. Absolutely. So any way you can is help. Just being here and hanging out also is awesome. In fact, doing all this sort of promotion, I hate. I wish I didn't have to do it because I don't like. It just feels weird. It feels weird, even though it shouldn't. But all right, guys, I will see you guys on tomorrow's live stream. We'll continue to cover this. So join me tomorrow again, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll do this again, Vetters. All right, I'll see everyone in Discord. Let's see here. Yeah, forget it. All right, y'all. Every day's a gift. Peace.